last episode, Abbott and Glenn Farfinger are going to sneak into a secret lab. Well, here we go again. They're sneaking into places and probably getting caught, right? Oh, let's see what happens. So, they take a rowboat. They are making their way towards a secret little area, and well, actually, I'm sorry. Actually, it's okay. Um, Curly Joe has joined them apparently, even though last episode they just said the two of them. But hey, plans change. So, all right. So, we're making our way through these hallways here, and making some progress. It's a very dark, dank sewer here. Heading towards a secret lab, and right over there! Look out! Look out! Look out! Oh no! Oh no! Oh dear, man! We've discovered Aunt Jemima's. Oh, crikeys, come on! There was no Aunt Jemima walking robotic giant Aunt Jemima's in Crackton, Ohio. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is very ridiculous. Come on, there isn't any. I've never been there. I mean, Joe, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you were drunk enough, I guess you would see walking Aunt Jemima's. But no, there's no walking Aunt Jemima's. Oh, they discover Kojak is in league with Milo. So we're in the lab, and look at this data, Glenn Farfinger, Curly Joe. Oh no, it's direct communications between Dark Milo and Kojak. Yeah, oh no, we couldn't be entirely sure, until we really seen hardcore proof. Oh, this means, yes, that my theory is correct. That really Kojak is an NPC made by Dark Milo, Sir William Esquire, and Sergeant. He's here to kind of throw things off, and they're setting up some kind of scenario. I'm starting to wonder, is there an invasion that's gonna happen? Oh no, an invasion of Crackton, Ohio. Well, if you remember, we're gonna do some backtracking here, guys. There was a time in Crackton, Ohio's history where it was blown up by TIE fighters during the original freighter, during the freighter. I'm so sorry, Saturngrad. The freighter versus retro, the motion picture. I know you're laughing, but it's all still screens. How it can be called a motion picture. Okay, but yeah, you know what I mean. And basically, by the end of the movie, Pookapi Adams reveals that Dark Milo had sent TIE fighters and blew up Crackton, Ohio. Of course, I'm not entirely sure why we wouldn't create a scene out of that, why it's just mentioned or later, but, storytelling could get kind of weird sometimes. Yeah, I remember that, actually, and it was disastrous. It was just boom, boom, boom all night long. It was a really nasty thing. Oh no, TIE fighters blew up Crackton, Ohio. Oh, you realize what he's doing? He's gonna make us live through that. Oh no! Oh no, Abbott! You can't do that. That's terrible. We're gonna have to. Yes, we're going to have to. We're going to have to see it all get destroyed. We have only really two options. Either we just hide, and that's Well, you told me that's not content to hide. Well, no, because it's boring. You're just doing like a stream somewhere, just hiding somewhere. It's kind of boring. You got to film the content. So, well, that would mean that. That would mean that we need to help the defenses of Crackton, Ohio. Well, that's content, right? That's a war. That's what the people want to see. Oh, oh no. Okay, okay. And of course they run for it, and they run away, and they actually don't get. I shouldn't really say much until I see the rest of the script. So far, they don't get caught. Kojak, meanwhile, is sitting in his office. All right. It is me, Kojak. After everything I've seen of these three, and in my time of my associations with Dark Milo, I admit it. I admit my hatred for Crackton, Ohio. You, someone at home would say, why do I want to help Dark Milo and Sir William Esquire and Sargent? They seem like such goofballs. But the reality is, I just wish to see all this burn. There's nothing redeemable about Crackton, Ohio. It's all gas stations. It's all gas stations. It's all. There's no libraries. There's nothing. We don't even have a sports team. We got nothing. It's just gas stations. And then we have this Elmer's Tainted Horse Meat Snacker Shack. What is that about? What is that about? A restaurant that serves tainted rotten horse meat. Like, that's irredeemable. I wish to see TIE fighters destroy this place. This is just absolutely terrible. Then on the view screen is Dark Milo. And of course, he shares his hatred as well and said there is one that. We'll get to that.
I see what you're talking about there. I was watching offline. Wait, how was I seeing offline without a signal?
Dark Milo, how are you watching him with no signal?
I don't know. It's a weird one. Okay, so yeah, I saw what you said, and man, that was passionate. Yeah, I hate Cracked Ohio too. Yeah, the Saturn Graph people, they always had this obsession with this Cracked Ohio place because the Simpsons made a reference to a place called Cracked Ohio, and we kind of stuck with it since childhood. And my old friends used to make fun of their old friends used to make fun of that kind of thing, and they used Cracked Ohio and used to call like parts of Pittsburgh cracked Ohio and stuff. So yeah, we got Crackton, and apparently he I'm gonna let you know. Yeah, you're right. It's all just gas stations. It's all just gas stations. That's it. And they got this one restaurant, and it serves rotten horse meat, and it's an acquired taste. They say. No, 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 no. That can't be, and
So, I know you tried to blow it up once with TIE fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. That was fun. But like a lot of times, like when you call like a bug inspector and stuff, like Cracked Ohio was kind of like just like like bed bugs, like you could call the bug inspector in it, but you probably are going to need to call them in more than once. That's Cracked Ohio. It's just a bunch of bed bugs, and that's really it. And you got to spray those beds pretty good with a lot of insecticides and stuff. And I just, you wish to see it all burn, and I do too, but I will say this, though. Why? Let's finally get to it. Why did me, Sir William Esquire, decide on doing a simulation of cracked Ohio? Well, these three little idiots here, Abbott and Glenn Farfinger and Curly Joe, they truly, actually, says there's only one truly, they have this thing about this, but listen, there is one that truly loves Crackton, because really the reality is Curly Joe's and Abbott really have no idea what they're talking about. They've been too new to the Saturn Grad to really understand the mythology that is Crackton, Ohio. Abbott doesn't even barely know what it is because he's just been on in that monastery on that island for so long. But the one that really loves it, really loves it, is Glenn Farfinger. And my plan is to torment Glenn because he's caused me so much pain. He took away my show back in the Final Freighter. You think that I've really let that go? Because you say, well, what? I don't understand. You being Mr. Pennypacker, you've gotten world access, but we've not gotten access to the Saturn Garage channel. We still don't have those logins. We don't have any of that. We need that from Pennypacker, and Glenn Farfinger is not playing both. Yeah, you could say, well, isn't he the host of the gaming segment? He is, but now I'm going to say is that's kind of replaceable now. Now that I see that there is one better in him. Oh yeah. And as a result, that protection is now fading away, and once that's gone, I'm getting this old trusty lightsaber out and seeing what this guy's made of,
Well, Joe, we are doing something different. We did Skyrim for like forever. I think we were. I think we were getting a little tired commentating over that. Well, it's it's a real trailblazer, but yeah, it's a trail, and it's like there's so much you could just say, like, oh, look at that, we've been playing this game for how many years, over a decade and more. So now we're playing Halo, and really, this is the original. It's the Combat Evolved, and it's it's a game that, to be honest with you, I remember at a time, I remember a guy on some message board. It's a message board. It's not even Twitter. We're going back to Internet 1.0 for crying out loud. The game originally came on the Xbox Xbox One, the original Xbox. Not Xbox One, the original Xbox One, the original Xbox. That big, bulky box. Yeah, that wasn't even big. Well, it was, Joe. I remember Freighter, he told me, he said, I bought that used. The first one didn't work. It was faulty, because you were playing Call of Cthulhu. And he said that, yeah, so he's playing the Call of Cthulhu, and he said it just got disk error, errors, and I was like, yeah, it was very obvious this system is, like, corrupted. And I think he says it's still in his basement somewhere, but, clearly it's kind of corrupted and whatever. And, it doesn't have the Duke controller. He said that he actually finally got a Duke controller for, like, the Xbox Series X. Like, there was a company that made one. But they're crap. They're crap. They don't last long. Which is, he says, it's a huge shame because it's probably one of the best controllers you ever have in your entire life because it's so big. If you got decent hands, like little hands, no, that thing wouldn't be good for people with little hands. You need a little D-pad or something. I got the little baby hands. Now, Joe, don't make fun of the people at home. It's a rule I have. Don't you make fun of the viewers. Even if it's one viewer, I know Mr. Pennypacker would come down hard on us. He would absolutely crush us because he would be like, "What are you doing? We have only maybe sometimes one viewer. If it goes down to zero, we've had a literally 100% drop. What are you doing? You're putting our non-business out of non-business, even more non-business. It can't be more non-business. It's just a hobby." We're going into ultra hobby now. We're in the nichiness of hobbies. Sloppy. Hello? 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 Are you there? Beeler? Beeler, are you there? Sloppy Joes. Oh no! I'm gonna have to call Dr. Quimby. Medicine woman. Not a woman, just a surname. I'm just kidding. Me and Billy had the same problem. Sometimes there are actually certain words we can't say. Like with Billy, you couldn't say 8. What do you mean you can't say 8? It's a number. It's not. Well, you don't understand. He would go 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, for like hours. It was a real problem. And he would just do that for hours and hours on end. And it was just painful. But it was fact. We dealt with that, the AAH. So he would do that. He would literally do that for hours, Joe. But nonetheless, that's almost like a catchphrase here on the Saturn Rod Productions. Nonetheless, that was a Pooh Guppy thing. He would say nonetheless, in that voice. That's really funny. But Frater said, he had the original Xbox. He got it, it was really cheap to get at the time because it was around the time of the 360. 360 had just come out, so so it was very easy to get an original Xbox. He got Call of Cthulhu, and then he got Morrowind, and of course I don't think he got Fable, but he got and of course Fable and Morrowind were the big two of that system, in my opinion. Peter Molyneux, he's a very beloved character, and very surprisingly, he has not been on our show. He's not. He's just not. He's kind of a lost character. He was on. I guess Pennypack told me he made some kind of appearance on in the what we call as the 2011 dimension, which is really kind of wild. So he is actually out there, but he's not really there. He just sort of makes these appearances, and what did he do? Well, Peter Molyneux would just pitch things at you. But he would look at something and he would listen to everything you said. He would look at the things around him, and he would literally make games up on the fly. Like he would say, well, there's a doorknob named Billy, or a doorknob named Susie, or an air conditioner named Earl. An air conditioner named Earl. I never seen a video game. Well, see, he would be like that. He'd be like, but understand, there has never been a video game named Earl, and there's never been a video game named after, and he's an air conditioner. And then of course there's silence, because the host of the show is silent. He doesn't know what to think. It sounds so dumb. I mean, I think I remember on Late Night VidMe, he literally, no joke, proposed the idea of just a slab of concrete, and it was just silence. Because you don't know what to say because it's so painfully forced. That was Peter Molyneux in our universe. The real Paramount will probably be horrified and be like, "Well, you're probably pushing it a little too much." you know, but he was known for doing that. He was known for Lily. He would go to these interviews and do like pitches and stuff, and he would Lily make up features on the fly that sounded amazing. But then when he'd get back to Lionhead and tell his programmers, "Oh yeah, by the way, what do you think of all these ideas I give them?" And they're like, "We can't program this. We just can't." I mean, his games were innovative. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I got a cookie in my tooth. So, Curly Joe, I mean, I know we're not talking about the game. Oopsie doopsie loopsie doopsie. But, yeah, so what would happen is, you know, really, truth be told, is, there was some innovations in that game that basically finally at last an Elder Scrolls game would see, because originally Todd Howard said, they asked him, well, can you actually have relationships with your NPCs and marry them and have children? And I mean, with Molyneux, oh my god, with the Fable games, yes, you could literally, if you have a female character, she can become pregnant, and or if you have a man, he can marry a woman, and she'll have your children. And I mean, it's crazy. It was crazily innovative. I mean, I know people like to bash Molyneux over the head over and over about things. And it's like, guys, he was actually very innovative for his time. It's just that he would promise too much, and that's where it destroyed his reputation. It's supposed to be like a Halo 4, I'm sorry, a Fable 4 or something, or Fable 5 or something, or yes, yeah, it's supposed to be. I'm sorry, I kind of ripped off Mr. Peck there. They're supposed to be. I know that we got Halo playing, and we're not even talking. I'm so sorry, but yeah, there's supposed to be a next gen Fable. They literally talked about it in the beginning of what the Xbox Series X. They advertised Fable, and there's still been nothing, unless there's something. Maybe it came out like in the middle of the night for the online only or something. I don't know, but that's kind of what has sadly happened to Molyneux. It's just that he came out with that game where you're supposed to be a god or something, and then it's like an online world, and and then there would be overseers, and I don't know. It was very he got into this like dark place where he would make a project and he would just abandon it, and it's really kind of his reputation. Then I remember all the commentary channels created what they call the Molyneux cycle, and that was like sort of like the end of the road for him. We got kind of derailed though, as we were talking about the original Xbox, because that's the whole point. This game came on the original Xbox. What you're seeing is the Master Chief Collection version. We got that because we kind of finally felt after all these years maybe we should have some Fable game, some Halo games. I keep saying Fable, Halo games. But yeah, the reason why Frater said he originally avoided Halo is because he just, at the time, it was really before it was really established as a multiplayer game. It was really a single player game originally, and it had the multiplayer, of course, I'm sure, but it wasn't known for that yet. That's the thing is, back in the day, a game comes out, you don't know if it's going to be the next Mario or if it's just going to be a bargain bin game that no one's going to talk about. You know what I mean? It's a problem. It's a real problem. Can happen with anything, but so, so at the time on this forum, someone was kind of to say it was just you fight Frankenstein monsters. And I think that came off to Frater as being a little bit cheesy, and he thought the person, the way they talked about it seemed kind of like kind of blah. Not, it was kind of like, okay, it was like just kind of there, and So it didn't feel like to Freighter like a must-have purchase. Well, that's what happened, and then of course, Halo 2 came out, and then that, the hype of the whole multiplayer thing started to happen. Unfortunately, Freighter didn't understand. He said he openly admitted he had no concept of what a router was, and because he just had like a, you know, one room that had the basic, your basic. It was just your basic router from your cable company, for crying out loud. It wasn't like a, you would buy like a wireless router, a separate wireless router. He had no idea about those things. He didn't understand those things. He said he hilariously, like a boomer, bought like one of these wireless things for your Xbox 360 to pick up stuff. He thought there was like internet in the air you could pick up or something. And it's like, in the town he was living in, trust me, you're not gonna pick up nothing, buddy. Not at that time. So that's basically it. And that's is a history of Halo. Eventually Halo 3 came out and he got that. And but again, here we've always tried to have a hard time justifying paying $60 a year for the internet alone when we already have internet. It's like this gatekeeping, that Xbox does. And of course, at the time, PS3 didn't. Well, PS3, of course, wouldn't have a first-party Microsoft game, of course, and so you don't get the Halo games, you don't get the Fable games, and you don't get a lot of things. You obviously, and but you got free internet. You got on that. You could play. You could still play in 2023 on a PS3. Some games, there's still games that are very functional online and actually still have people playing them, which is crazy. But you got to imagine it must be pretty cheap in some of these countries to pick up a PS3. And in my general opinion, Joe, that system had perfectly fine graphics, perfectly fine graphics. There's no excuse to someone to say, "Oh, look at the frame rate." It's like, you're being too much of a graphics nerd. You need to understand. There's people who have grown up with little garbage. I mean, like, there's people that grew up with the NES, and there used to be games they would literally put on and don't care that the fact is it's just a sea of browns and yellows. Sometimes, look, I know Saturn Ground, we're generally a retro channel mostly. We sort of sometimes break the rules for certain things, but if you come in with that attitude that the older is better, not always, not always. There are cases, yes, sometimes that's the case, but you got to bring up the case. Like, yeah, if you're bringing up like Mass Effect Andromeda, yeah, sure, I'm gonna want to play Castlevania 3 more, but. We're really ranting. A lot of times when we do a fresh recording session, we're really on fire. And then you could usually tell. There's certain episodes I will kind of clue in when we get really lazy, though. Okay, so that's all for now. You can watch the footage if you want for the rest, or you could just, go find something else to watch. That's not really way YouTube. Wait, are we gonna just shut it off now? That's not very advisable. Well, Joe, this is a hobby. Look, Freighter's even flat out said it. He did actually have a YouTube partnership at one point, and he could have turned it all on. He could have turned the monetization on, but he says we never had that kind of audience. There was actually a time he was monetized, but and a lot of it was yellow, a lot of yellow demonetized stuff, and he just flat out said. There was just no people, and if there's no people, there's no money, and he literally at one point just turned off the monetization because he said there was just no point. He just said, this is a hobby. We do this out of the joys of our heart. We don't do this because we want to make a second job or a third job or a fourth job out of this. the people who do this, he really kind of looks down a little bit on the people who want to make a career out of it, because it's like you do realize they could terminate you at any time. It's not like when you have an HR, the HR has to bring you in, they have to bring you into a system, of termination. A lot of times you get warnings. You're on thin ice. Like at a company or something, at a job. Here, it can end within seconds. It could just end in seconds, and so he just says, do this for the fun of it. Do it for the hobby. Do it for the joy of your own creative spirit. It's art. Now, look, if something happened in the algorithm where all of a sudden, yeah, we're getting really, really a lot of views, and okay, I will turn on the ads. We'll turn on the monetization then, because of course it's going to be a little extra money. But I'm just telling you, a lot of channels are like they you could tell they're like, I'm going to go full time on YouTube. It's 90% of the time when you hear that, you go, uh-oh, because they're going to get some heartache. Now, there's some channels in the beginning, like PewDiePie and stuff, they just sort of blew up, and they blew up, and they blew up like an explosion that can't stop. The city caught on fire. The city is now rubble because the fire was that great. So, and there are exceptions. Some people go to college football. Sometimes they then they go to the NFL. How many people went through high school football and never went anywhere? They just end up with concussions and bad knees and end up in walkers later. Lots. Well, we'll see you next time. We've been playing this game for how many years? Over a decade and more. So now we're playing Halo, and really, this is the original. It's the Combat Evolved, and it's it's a game that, to be honest with you, I remember at a time. I remember a guy on some message board. It's a message board. It's not